Hello, everyone. Thank you for tuning in to When Models Talk. We are now doing Tuesdays at 7 p.m. and because of the holidays. So it'll be Tuesdays. Hey, it'll be Tuesdays from now on until next year. All right, so today's gonna be a very good conversation today. I'm excited for the guest that we have coming on because he has so much knowledge. He does so many things. Hi, ABC Productions. Hey, just us, Jules. Hey, girl. Hey, company. Okay, I don't curse, so you know. Well, I'm gonna say company hits. How about that? Queen Chris. Hey. So yes. Hey, House of Talent, PA. Yes, it's. Whew. Y'all gotta give it all my nerves. I don't know what's wrong. I was getting nervous every time I'm about to do it. Do you have that? Just us, Jules. Do you ever get nervous before before you about to do your lives? Just us, Jules does wonderful lives too, y'all. So check her out. Check her page out.
Hey.
Bam!
Sorry, I'm like, I literally just finished doing a workout. Oh my god, I'm so tired.
All right now, getting it in shape.
Yeah, I'm turning 40, so I have to really do it.
Yeah, you look. As soon as I pushed past 30, I was like, I felt a huge difference in my body,
Ugh.
like immediately.
Oh yeah, it's crazy.
I was like, what is this? I can't eat everything no more.
Yeah, tell me about it.
Things I can't eat.
I gotta put my hat on. I gotta put my hat on because I'm going bald at 40.
Look, all you do is just get low cut. That's it. You just get
Yeah.
low cut.
Let me see if I get my whiskers back. All right, there we go.
All right. Well, you look good. You ain't have to have a hat though.
I'm trying.
But you look good anyway.
Thank you.
And I'm loving this. Like you changed it up.
Yeah. My new
Are you gonna be like some of the people that get it real big and long, and you and you do the contest too?
So no, I grew my beard out really long, and we got a new puppy, and he started chewing on it, so I cut it all off. So this is the grown back part, but it's still long. I can flat iron it now.
You know what? I can't. You can flat iron it.
I can flat iron it, yeah.
All right now. All right, so let me introduce you.
Sure.
So, everyone, today we have Antoine Johnson, and he is a celebrity PR, executive producer, and creator of the KIKI Ball and Spotlight Under the L, which was on Fox 29.
Yeah, it was.
I was like, do I see Fox? Yes, and he is a Villanova alumni. Hey. Notable publicist, and has been a reporter, anchor, director, producer, and editor. He is the proud sole owner of House of Talent, PA. So everybody welcome Andre. Why am I saying Andre?
We're all black.
Johnson, y'all, Johnson. I don't know. You know what's funny? I've been so nervous, like for the past 15 minutes.
Why?
I don't know. I got so nervous coming on the live with you that now I'm trying to release my nerves.
Well, have a drink while we do this.
I ain't got no wine. I just got water.
Oh, I'm gonna walk to find my earbuds as we do this live as well.
Okay. Because I got water.
Yes. You guys are gonna walk.
It's like just like I was telling them before, it's like when you're about to get on the runway and all these nerves start flooding in. And
There's no need.
It's like go time.
There's no need to be nervous.
Okay. It happens, it happens.
Yeah. Oh, I know.
Okay, so while you're getting something to drink in your earbud,
yep.
I'm gonna go over the topics. So the topics are, because I normally do as an icebreaker, but because I want to get all the information and give everybody information that you have, no icebreakers. No. So the topics are Black-owned businesses, House of Talent, PA, events and networking, branding, and marketing yourself as a model. And of course, most likely there'll be more stuff, but we'll get into that. But that's what we got so far.
Okay.
Okay, so because you have done so many great things, and I'm just like, my mind was over, like, blown with the amount of stuff that you actually do. I was like, okay, I need a break. And not so many people give me that, where it's like, okay, I really need to take time, because trying to research you was a lot, because you've done so much stuff, which is great. So
Much better.
So my first question is, how did you get started in the entertainment industry?
So I grew up in a house where entertainment was like a thing. You know, my stepfather was a producer. He worked with Albie Shore. You know, those when music was real music. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And my mom was in a gospel choir. She was a gospel choir director. So I knew, you know, so the music thing was in my blood, I suppose. But I did theater growing up as well. But I always knew that I wanted to be on TV, but I wasn't sure that I wanted to be an actor. But I had an interest in telling stories, which ultimately led to going to the news as an adult. So I went to college for communication, got a degree in television film with PR and marketing and all that good stuff. So it's just, I think it just happened naturally. You know, some people are born with gifts, others are not. And I was given the gift to talk and sing and dance.
Yeah, because I'm like, okay, so how in the world do you come up with, first of all, as I'm watching your show, I watched clips of it on the actual Instagram page for Spotlight Under the L. And I was like, he is the person to know.
Thank you.
He is the person to know. It's like he's the plug. That's what it is. He's the plug. Because you got so much going on, and you have so many connections, and you do so many things. So it's like, but how did you get to that point where, you know, knowing so many people and doing so many things after college?
So basically, once I graduated college, you know, I took a job in a different city.
Okay.
This lighting is really, really bad, isn't it? Is that better?
That's better. That's better. But you were real close to it, so it wasn't bad when you were real close.
Oh, well, then I'll stay close. I have good skin.
Okay.
I actually have really good skin.
Look, I'm working on mine. Makeup does justice.
There. That way we don't have any bad light.
Okay.
It sucks because I usually have a ring light, but I'm just so lazy these days, you know. But yeah, no, what was the question again? I'm sorry. I'm still beat from that workout, girl. Shout out to Yard Out. Yo, that workout put me in a whole different phase.
Look, I'm all for working out because, you know, I be on my healthy kick and I need my ass to be in and on point.
Yes,
So,
absolutely.
But the good thing is it doesn't take me long to get at, so I'm happy about that.
Yeah, well, it's going to take me forever today, but so the show.
So the question was, after you got out of college, how did you make so many connections to the point where you are now, basically?
So basically what I did was when I graduated and I raised the money to start my business, because what I wanted to do was own a business, because when I graduated college, I was 20 years old. So it was like, who's going to hire a 20-year-old Black kid with a college degree from Villanova with no real experience? So I was like, I got to find a way to do this on my own. And I asked my mother for a loan, and she told me to have a bake sale. And I'm like, who the hell has a bake sale at 20 years old? So I literally took a job in filming adult films, and I raised money that way, and that's how I started my business. Once I had the money to start the company, you know, I realized there was something missing, and that was the networking. You know, the company started off as a model agency, just booking straight models. You know, and I knew fashion really well. I knew what it took to be a fashion model. but there's no money in fashion. It was all in commercial print at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And so we discovered Nate White. He's a Black guy from Reading, Pennsylvania,
Mm-hmm.
and he led the Abercrombie campaign. And from there on, we started to build our boards. And
Yeah.
over the time, we were doing really well, but it just wasn't enough to survive off a 20% commission at that time, especially living in King of Prussia. So moved to the city, and just by chance, I reached out to PHL 17, and I got a job doing the morning news. And from there, I got producers and everyone involved. And that's how I started House of Talent PA. Off of that, left, I'm a cursor, I curse a lot. So morning news is definitely not for me per se. But it was a cool experience. I got a chance to interview John Legend. I got a chance to interview some of the casts from Two Broke Girls. So it was rewarding in a sense that I got a really good reel. But I got a really big break with being on Mob Wives, where I was asked to be the creative director for Drita's cosmetic line. And I got to introduce her to Natalie from South Philly, who ultimately became a client of mine. And I did that for 2 seasons. I worked with Alicia DeMichael during Fashion Week. I feel like you were in that show. Like, were you in that runway segment during Fashion Week?
I was in something.
Yeah, so we did Fashion Week when it was at the Crane Arts, and Mob Wives filmed. And so I brought that to Fashion Week, and that was the whole start of reality TV. Then, started working with Mama Jones from Love and Hip Hop, and then, so just a lot of that stuff. We built it,
Yeah. And what I like about what you said is, as soon as you graduated, you was like, okay, I am a 20-year-old, just graduated from college, and I have no experience. So people aren't going to hire me with no experience, so I got to go create my own, and that's what you went and did.
Yeah.
That's something that a lot of people that go to college, they think, oh, I'm going to get a job as soon as I come out. That's not always the case. Unless you really busting your behind networking like crazy, and that's if you still get it. Because I feel like now it's really about knowing knowing people.
Right.
Really what it is. Knowing who to talk to, having a connection with this or that person in order to be able to get a leg up, I would say.
Yeah. I mean, it was different because, I went to Villanova undergrad. So a lot of the people that I went to school with, their parents were able to get them jobs. Some of them, not all of them. Some of them had to work and, do the whole thing. But, most of them had internships in college. So they came out to a job. I ran track at Villanova. If you're a scholarship athlete, you can't work or do an internship while you're on scholarship. So your options are limited in terms of getting a job after college. And I think at the time, I wasn't so focused on working per se, but I knew that I had to make my mom happy. So finding a job was the way to go. Because I feel like I had a couple more years training for the Olympics. I had a couple more years. It wasn't until after the second knee surgery, I was like, okay, this is never going to work. And I became a real human being, had a slice of pizza, had my first drink, like normal 20-year-olds.
Yes. So for whoever doesn't know, you were on the Olympic team. So talk about that real quick.
So I was on Team USA by the time I was in high school. There was a junior team. We went to Germany. I lived there for a while. And I did really, really well. I mean, there was not too many people from where I'm from that has competed on a major level. I think there's one girl, Daria Smith, who went to my high school. We had the same sprinting coach, the same hurling coach. And our coach, Kathy Ritz, wherever she is, love you, girl. She was able to coach 2 All-American athletes, who, I want to say that the girl went to University of Penn. I want to say that. And then I ended up going to Villanova. But, there was something to be said about the coaching style of our coach and what she could produce in terms of product. So yeah, Germany to college, Olympic trials, injury, Big East championships, all those things. And just whenever you get to that point where it's we've made it, it was an injury. So it was like,
Mm-hmm.
we didn't make it, you know, but I gave it as many fair attempts as I can with the body
Mm-hmm.
that I had at the time.
Yeah.
You know, like I said, I'm gonna be 40 and I don't have any cartilage in my knees now. So it's really hard to like move as much as I thought I would be at 40, but you know,
Yeah.
it's a sacrifice. A lot of people say that when you're in college, you're on a full scholarship, you
Mm-hmm.
know, everything is paid for. But what they
Mm-hmm.
don't realize is the sacrifice that your body makes
Yeah.
that you can never recover from when you graduate and or when you're 30 years old. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. It's
So,
like even when it comes to like playing football and you got so many playing football for so long, that wear and tear on your body is crazy.
yes, absolutely crazy. And like there's a lot of arguments, you know, should college athletes being paid for their sport or whatever the case may be. I believe they should, you know. We can't
I
have a
think so
job.
too.
Yeah, we can have a job. I mean, think about, well, they can now, which is great, but hell, I want restitution. Shit. Yeah, how many sprinters went to Villanova because I went there? So, but I
I know
think that
that's right.
I think a lot of people don't understand, oh, they pay for your books, tuition, all that stuff. That's great, but I still have to maintain a certain GPA. And I still have to wake up earlier than you, work out, go to class, go to lunch, work out, go to night class, wake up and do it every day, 6 days a week. And then if we're competing, those weekends we're away for those 2 days as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so like if I would have known what I know now, I probably would have just had paid for college.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not trying to be ungrateful. It's just my body
Yeah.
just, it's crazy.
Because you didn't really get a chance to really have the college experience that most people go through.
That
Where
was
it's like,
never,
I can have fun, I can party, I can do the most.
yeah, we never, the most for me was like doing a backflip after I won Big East championship. That was the most, you know. And I think on the bus, you know, if we went to like Penn State or something within a few hours on the bus, I would do the percolator, but that's about it.
That's it. Man. But look, hey, well, the good thing is now the process that you went through as far as college and knowing hard work, that's the thing. Because when you're in sports, it's discipline. It's so much more to it. And I'm sure all of that you went through led you to where you are now, especially as a businessman.
Right.
So
Yeah, I definitely learned how to organize and how to have really good time management. You know, when you're in a routine, it makes things easier. So I'm capable of routine, but I think once I finished sports, and it's only because I fell out of love with it. You know what I mean? I've always done things to make myself happy, and I always feel like I have to love this to do
yeah.
it. And when I fell out of love with the sport, it was just like, you know what? I want a normal body. I want to have body fat. I want my ass to fucking be a little bit saggy, but not too fucking saggy. I want, like, you know what I mean? I want a little bit of a belly, but not too much of a belly. I want to eat pizza. I want to do all these. I want to do all these things that, you know, a normal 24-year-old at the time was doing, and you know, and so, you know, I'm grateful for the injuries because it gave me my life back. You know, I didn't know anything else but track and field and dance. So
yeah, because I ran track too. I ain't get to no Olympic level, but
I heard you's a sprinter.
And I totally get what you're saying as far as like how you find so many people that are excellent in like a sport and they go through that whole process of, you know, accomplishing, setting records and everything else. And then as soon as they're done college, it's like, I don't have the love for this anymore. I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
So many people say that. And I'd be like, well, you were so great. What happened?
You know, so sometimes, I mean, I can only speak for myself. I think a lot of it for me was the coaching and the way I was treated. You know, in college I had a lot of struggles. When I came into college, I was like 5'9", 130, 40 pounds. When I left college, I was 6'3", 180 pounds of just nothing but muscle.
When did you have a growth spurt in college?
I was 16 as a freshman.
Oh.
Yeah, I was a young kid. I mean, I remember for almost 2 years having to ask my mom for permission to do stuff because it was, yeah, it's a thing where, you know, I started school early and then my birthday's in December, so you get in school, so like, and then the educational stuff, you know, And I finished my degree in 3 years because I just hated it so much. I didn't want to be there. There was a lot of identity things going on, coming to know who I was.
Yeah.
And then, there was a coaching staff that wasn't very accepting in some capacity. And there were teammates that I was afraid to have the conversation with. And all that pressure, just kind of built up, and still feeling like I'm never going to be the best I can be because I had so much baggage that was wearing me down internally. But like once I got rid of that baggage, it was like nothing's going to stop me. So
yes. All right, now look, that's how you got to where you are. So your experiences it definitely teaches other people how to overcome. And again, you are 16.
I was a baby.
I'm like, how do you have a growth spurt in college? Like,
I was a baby.
So you're still learning yourself. Like everybody's always still learning themselves. And I feel like every time you reach a decade, it's like, okay, I'm learning something new about myself. When you hit 40, guess what? You're gonna learn something else new about yourself.
I'm learning already.
So, and then so on and so on. So as you get older, things constantly are changing. But hey, now you ain't gotta worry about running track no more.
No, I do not. Thank God.
That you just getting your workout in. So, hey, now, so when it comes to your jobs, right? So you said you were with PHL.
17, yeah.
Yes. So were there any other jobs that you've had in the entertainment industry, like working with a network or working with any other television station?
Yeah, so I did This Is It TV. I think now it's on Comcast, and I did that for a while. Helped build that brand. Sheldon Ballroom, she now runs it. Well, she always run it and own it, but she has a show on the local station here with that. I directed and produced a lot of this stuff. I anchored that show. It was just, it was what it was. It was very local, in this region type of stuff. Restaurants, Fashion Week, some sports, some stuff like. It was very lifestyle related. But I've always been better at producing shows, something that I know how to do really, really well. I think that came with just being a good storyteller and listening to people. I think that every person has a superpower. My superpower is putting the puzzle and pieces together to make good television and to make good business decisions. Like, I take someone's ideas and I know how to shift it into like money-making type of stuff. Yeah, that's my superpower.
Yes, well, I'm trying to figure out my superpower. I gotta sit down and think about that.
Well, you know what your superpower is. Now it's just like you're doing it right now. You know what I mean? Like, this is, you seem very comfortable. You look great on camera. I mean, this is what you need to be doing.
I agree with you. Because at first, this was not something that I was even, thank COVID, because this was nothing I would never, when I say never, I would never do. Because I didn't like seeing myself on camera. I heard, who was it? It was an actress. I can't remember who she is, but she was a very famous actress. And she was like, and they asked her, do you ever watch yourself on TV, like your movies and everything? And she was like, no, I don't like seeing myself on camera. Everybody looked like, what? Like, who? Like, you of all people, if I remember her name, I'm going to say it, but yeah, she does not like seeing herself on camera, so she does not watch her movies. She does not watch certain things. That's crazy.
I mean, I think at some point you got to watch yourself to critique yourself, but some people just don't like seeing themselves on camera. I mean, for a while I hated my voice, but you just, whatever. If someone's paying you to do it, speak.
What's wrong with your voice?
Nothing. It's just in TV, like when you're doing news, there's like a sound. You know what I mean? Like every reporter sounds like something. So yeah. I have people that are I'm gonna call her out. Portia is watching the live, and she just said that I'm really in my white self right now. So I typed LOL as if she was on texting the live. So Portia, I just called you out in front of everybody. There you go.
Yes. So getting into House of Talent PA. Now, it started off, like you said, as a modeling agency.
Well, mostly it was model and talent because at the time we were doing actors as well,
Okay,
and
and what?
it wasn't sustainable. Like that
Okay.
commission did not sustain me,
Mhm.
and I wanted a different life. I want to have what I have now, and like I wanted to be able to travel and like take care of a dog and be
Yeah.
happy, and it just wasn't working, and I just feel like after news and then after reality TV, the
Mhm.
connections were
Mhm.
just so great. It was easy
Mhm.
enough to call or send an email or a text message to the producers of the local news stations or, anywhere because my
Yeah.
Twitter became verified. Like, I was doing it.
Look, so I'm still working on my Twitter. I used to be on Twitter a lot. Well, not kind of sort of, but
Listen, that's the way
now
to go.
I I get back on it. I'm gonna get back on it.
Twitter's well, see, like, I like Twitter better than any of the other social media apps because, um,
Instagram.
yeah, I mean, I'm not a picture person. Like, I mean, I put stuff up, but that's not my thing. Like, I prefer not to show my face when I don't have to.
Mhm.
I've become a lot more private as I got older.
Mhm.
Um, and when you're not single anymore, you ain't got time to be putting them body pics up there, people staring at you and shit. Like, like, you ain't got time for that shit. Asking permission. Do you mind if I post this? Like, you know what I mean? Like, you have other things to worry about.
Mhm.
And people and boundaries and people to respect. So yeah,
Yeah.
no, I have to watch what I tweet sometimes because I get in my emotions when I start to
Mhm.
tweet at people. I've been banned. I've been in Twitter jail a few times.
Mm-mm-mm.
My mouth is vicious, so I say what it. Like,
Now I'm gonna have to go back on Twitter and be like, okay, what he saying?
yeah, I've
I'm gonna
cleaned it
pull
up though.
over.
I've cleaned my act up, and now I just like to do things that are like social justice. Again, last month, it was a month and a half ago during the Breonna Taylor
Mhm.
protest, I got
Mhm.
in my reporter head and I went down to the
Mhm.
protest and covered it as if I was live for a network, and
Mhm.
it did well. It was like 17,000 views at one point, just
Mhm.
because we wanted people. I'm big on that, like police brutality. That's
Yeah. Look, look. But we
baby.
gonna, but look, we gonna get into, we gonna get to now when it pertains to well, I want to talk about Kiki the Ballroom before I get into anything else
Sure.
because
That's my new baby.
yes, I've seen the show. I don't think well, I've seen it, and when I say I absolutely loved it, I think everybody
Aw.
did a great job. And on top of that, it really gave me an insight on, the like what the LGBTQ community is actually thinking, like
Mhm.
what their thoughts are, and that's what I can appreciate because sometimes people don't understand the
Right.
things that they go through, the things that happen, and so how it's only one episode.
No, it's a full season. So what I sent to you, so I sent you episode one, which is like the backstory
So I
of the
missed the
contestants.
whole.
No, 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 no. So what's happening now is the show's on the CW, aired in Philadelphia and in Atlanta. And what we want to do is kind of just show the backstory to get people interested in the actual full season, which is going to be on Amazon Prime.
Okay.
So we for Amazon, that first episode that you saw,
Mm-hmm.
she got a special link, y'all. Like, whatever. She got that privilege, okay? With that, it was the unedited, uncensored version of the TV version
Mm-hmm.
of it. So, but yeah, it just gives the backstory of the 11 contestants and our 5 judges, and um, what I felt in doing this project, and this
Mm-hmm.
really stemmed from listening to people on social media, mostly my Facebook feed, and what was happening in the news about trans women of color being murdered,
Mm-hmm.
and how people assumed that they were not telling these men that they were with, that they were trans. But
Mm-hmm.
being in the community, I mean, I know better. We know that they were in full blown relationships and they knew each
Mm-hmm.
other for a long time. And it got to the point where that guy's girlfriend, friend's wife, or someone was going to find out. So they just killed her. And
Wow.
it was happening every other month, it seemed like. And I just got so sick of it. And then, of course, with Black Lives Matter, I know that a lot of those leaders from the Black Lives Matter movement are Black lesbian women, you know? And there were a lot of gay men, Black gay men, saying, we don't feel like we're included. And I just felt like, I don't understand that, because I feel included. You know, before anything, when you see me, you see a Black man, period. You know what I mean? No cop's going to ask about my orientation or who I'm married to or dating. I'm just a 6'3", 230-pound Black man, period. You know what I mean? And a beard, so I fit the description. And I got tattoos, so I fit the description, you know? And so I wanted to explore that as well as the KIKI Ballroom scene, because a lot of those people don't have family that were very supportive. And it differs in other shows because you don't get to really hear the backstory. You don't get to hear, you know, if it wasn't for my ballroom family, I'd be dead. I would have committed suicide. You don't get to hear, because of the church, my family turned their back on me and put me out. You don't get to hear, you know, I identify as a trans woman, and my good girlfriends, if we like the same guy, will tell them that I was born a man. Like, you don't hear that from our community, and that's heartbreaking because the church has made this such a big deal, which is shockingly stupid, because the church ain't nothing but a bunch of so it is what it is. They'll praise the choir director, but I'm just saying.
Crazy. That's crazy. Because I know in one part, she broke it down as like exactly what the LGBTQ mean. Then I said, hold on, what's the I? And then we figured out what the I was. And that was let me make sure I get it right. I think it was
intersections, yeah. I mean, I think intersection comes as a millennial thing, but it's just.
But when she said the whole L stands for this, and then when she got all the way down to the I think it was the T or the Q.
The T.
And
trans.
It was like they're on the bottom of the totem pole.
Yeah, I mean, it was, so I'll be honest with you. We had just started filming. So maybe we were about 10 to 15 minutes max into filming like that section of it. And that was the first thing we filmed. And I was already emotional from the other two people that filmed before that. Yeah. But that right there broke my soul. And I couldn't stop crying because I felt that. Like, this was unscripted, unprompted. It was as if it was on her heart for so long, and she finally got a chance to to let it go. And it just rolled so naturally. You know, it was like, you know, LGBT is in rank. Lesbians, people accept it. Two girls, they think they're hooking up is sexy. You know, gay, you know who you are, you know what you're going to get. Bi, you're confused. Transgender, you're a mistake. And I lost it. Like, literally, there was like this awkward pause, silence in the entire room, because it was one of those moments where myself, who identify as a gay Black man, felt like, wait, I think that I protect my trans sisters, but some of them don't feel like we protect them, nor do they think that we appreciate what they've done for us. Because a lot of these marches and the ballroom scene and gay rights has happened from Black trans women. They've always been the first one to throw a stone and punches in all of these movements. So, but that's just like Black women in general. Yeah, always have been the backbone of the Black man in this country. So it is what it is.
Yeah. Absolutely.
It
just saddens me when you hear somebody say that they feel like they're the mistake. Like, I feel like nobody's there is no such thing as you're a mistake. You're here for a reason.
Right.
On this earth, there's a purpose. You have a purpose. So it's sad when you hear somebody think that just because how they choose to live their life, that's how they feel like they're a mistake. And you can make somebody feel like that, or they can have this perception of like why they feel like that. But I think it's very important to clear it up and say, okay, and start acknowledging. Like when you hear someone talking badly about Black women, saying that we're all kinds of stuff. And I'm like, hold on, wait a minute. Hold on.
Yeah.
Like, wait a minute. We not about, first, especially when you hear Black men do it. That's like the worst thing. So I think as a community, we need to do more of uplifting each other and recognizing what's coming out of our mouths and how we're saying something, and make sure we're not doing something that's going to be offensive or a certain way towards other people, especially when they feel like they're a mistake. Like, I don't like that right there kind of crushed me when I heard that. Like, did she just say she a mistake?
Yeah. I mean, a lot of that is rooted in, you know, in my opinion, lack of self-esteem, which comes from not having people in your family that gave birth to you love you for who you are. And then growing up in an environment where religion plays a really big role. Yeah. And what you hear is God is love. God is good. We are made in the image of, you know? So when you hear those things, and those are affirming things, right? I would say that's affirming. But then you have that same person that's teaching you God is love, God is good, God is great. That same person is now using a scripture to demonize you. They're weaponizing the book to make you feel less than. Well, in the Bible, it says that this is an abomination. Well, how can you say that God is good, God is great? You know what I mean? And then flip it. The next thing you say is, I'm an abomination. So which one is it? So do you or do you not love me? Or I'm trying to figure that out. And then on the same token, you have to say to that person or say to yourself, okay, well, if God is all these things and he died for our sins, including yours, why is it that he can forgive you but you can't forgive me? If we all have that same, you know what I mean? So there's a lot of those variables play into how people are shaped.
So I know also in the show, it talked about like a lot of people. Like I had to ask you, like, does everybody get kicked out the house when they come out to their family?
It is not everybody, but I mean, some people have really positive stories. Some people just don't. And again, I think that it all varies on your family structure and upbringing. You know, I feel like the more religious people are, the harder it is to come out to them because you already know what they're going to say. And a lot of people play church and play the role, but they're really not, because how can Jesus Christ have his best friend as Mary, who was a whore, and still forgive other people and be on the cross with 2 other people and still forgive? You know what I mean? Like, so you can't say that you have that in you and not be able to forgive your children, right? Yeah. For whatever you think their sin is, because we all know the wage of sin is death, right? So if that's the case, you had me when you were a teenager and you were not married. So that's your sin and your cross to bear. Like, you know what I mean? But yet you want to condemn me for who I am. And it's one of those things where every parent should look at it only one way. This is the only way to look at it. My child is a gift from God. Yes. So if I don't nurture and take care of my child, then I am going against what God gave me. Yeah. Maybe this is my cross to bear, but this is what it is. And so to throw that gift away is completely the wrong thing to do. It's unforgivable, despicable, and it's just shitty ass parenting.
Yeah.
Lord.
I feel like also when it comes down to, you have a parent that is still a child. So they don't even know how to be a parent, don't even know. And then when they're being taught by someone, or they feel shame, or they feel some type of way because they may have had a child while they're not married, while they're young. You know, it's so much. I feel like so many people put shame on so many things, especially, when it comes to religion. They do. You know,
they do.
Because because even I had to learn to not be biased in some ways and not to be a certain way towards certain things and not judge people, even though I'm like, the Lord said, the Bible said.
No,
I
I
had
hear
to
you.
learn to not do that because I make my own mistakes and I want to be forgiven for the things that I do. I have to sit there and apologize for some of the things that I do. I had my kids early. I wasn't married. But they out the way now. They out the way. I ain't having no more. I'm good.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's just crazy. It was very sad to see, even though it was very fun and creative. The show was very fun and creative. But at those type of moments, hearing someone's story and how the things the things they went through was just so sad because, you know, I have a lesbian sister. I have people in my family that are part of the LGBTQ community, you know, and the things that they may have gone through that they never even share with me, you know, it just makes me feel bad. Like, oh my gosh, like, am I being supportive enough? Am I, you know, doing my part to make them feel welcome? You know what I mean? So
I never quite understood. I never quite understood how a person of color could be so dismissive to someone in the LGBTQ community when people of color are just dismissed by, you know, I just never really understood that. But it goes back to the hierarchy. You know what I mean? This is how we do it. And I tell people all the time, you know, like, just because a person is gay or lesbian doesn't mean you won't get your ass whooped.
I thought that just like after it came out to my car. I know that's right. Because you know what? I think that's it too. I think back in the day, it was like a person, like a straight person, would think that, okay, I can say whatever I want and do whatever I want, and then all of a sudden, like, first of all, they still got hands.
Shout out to all my folks at 42 Washington Street.
Yes.
Oh my God, those are the projects back at home.
And you're originally from New York.
Yeah, I'm a New Yorker. Yeah.
Because at first I thought you were from Philly, because you know it's always been Philly. But no, you're from New York.
I'm a New Yorker, born and raised. Yeah. Oh yeah. I miss home, but you know, had to get out of there.
Look, well, do you feel like you'll ever go back to New York and live there again, or not?
I would love to live in New York again. I obviously want to live in Manhattan. I wouldn't live where I grew up. Although, listen, I will say that I had one of the best, you know, childhoods, you know, possible. We had community, like real community. Like, I didn't curse then. Do you know what I mean? And I was in the house by 6 o'clock when the bell rang, and our neighbors could spank us. You know what I mean? Like, everyone helped everyone. The neighbors watch each other's kids. If your parents didn't cook, you can come to my house. We can go to their house and have dinner. You know what I mean? But I grew up with a single mom and it was 6 of us, 6 boys. So like, it was just, there was so much respect. You know what I mean? Like, that's how it was. The kids these days, they don't have that. They'll fight their parents. I wouldn't even raise my hand to my mom because they'd be like,
you lose it.
Beyond lose it, you know? That's one of those, again, it's one of those things when the Bible goes out the window. Did you just raise your fucking hand at me? Oh, no.
Like, let's just toss this real quick.
There's no scripture here.
You about to lose your life.
Yeah, for sure.
But and the thing, even now, the fact that, like, the whole community, it takes a village to raise a child. Like, it was wonderful back then when that was happening, because a lot of kids stayed in line. But when it transitioned, I don't know when the transition hit, but when it transitioned to, you know, everybody not really looking out for everybody in the neighborhood, like the kids, not correcting them when you see them doing something wrong, like, just all that, when that shifted, that's when a lot of stuff started going downhill, especially in the household. But I really think it's because of the fact that you had parents that were young, because you gotta remember, these were older people that were doing that. Now when you have the kids that are having the babies, and they sit there and they trying to be the parent, and then you pass from generation to generation, but some people aren't passing that along.
Right.
That's where the issues start coming, where kids can think they can say anything they want to their parents and
Mm-hmm.
not get cut.
And
They,
not
you know, not,
right.
and because I don't play that. One thing I don't like, and that's a disrespectful kid.
Mm-hmm.
That's like the worst. I'm like, wait a minute, hold on, where's the home training?
Yeah.
When was it possible for y'all to start disrespecting your elders? Like, I don't get it. But
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that's coming back. I don't I don't think this generation.
No, I mean, listen, there's something to say about this generation that I really, really like and I respect. I feel like our parents, our grandparents, and maybe our great grandparents, they fought for equality, right? But not to the extreme that these kids are. They know when they leave their house that if they get pulled over by the police, they got options of dying or getting beat or going to jail for something they probably didn't do, but they were in the wrong place, wrong time. But they're standing up to police brutality. They're standing up to the racism. They're standing up to all these things. And guess what? They're not turning the other cheek. I think those days of turning the other cheek is over. And so I give them a lot of respect for doing that because shit, look what's happening right now. There are more protests happening now on the streets, and it's Black people and white people. And I think that's what's making the shift in this country, at least, where people are seeing white people with Black people walking down the street holding arms and, you know, say her name, say his name. Because I think a lot of people are seeing this for what it really is. And, you know, I mean, I grew up, you know, I watched the Rodney King beating on the news. We thought things were going to change then. They never changed. You know, and here we are 20 plus years later, and you're still looking at the same thing. And now we had the George Floyd, which really toppled and pushed everything to the other side, because now these people saw a man die in front of them on television. This wasn't a movie. This was the real deal. And then we saw some cops get acquitted from that, or no charges, so to speak. You know what I mean? So I think they're starting to see what we're seeing. But this younger generation, they don't care. I look at this as the apartheid in South Africa. When those kids said, okay, you're going to free Mandela, you're not going to free him? Okay. And they just took sticks, rocks, and everything, and it's like, we'll just burn this place up down until you free Mandela. And I feel like this is one of those situations, you know. So in a way, I don't like the violence, but I get it.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely agree with that. So now going back into KIKI, the ballroom, when one of the cast members, right?
Yeah.
When they said there's two types of families, they have their blood and they have their KIKI family. Like, explain the difference between the two. Like,
sorry, I get really emotional because I've learned so much from this process. Because some of the stuff you don't see that we saw behind the scenes and didn't put on TV, because it was a lot. It was a lot, you know, to have large families, 11 siblings, and to not feel accepted is very painful. To be a teenager on the street with no guidance, for whatever the reason, their birth family, meaning mom, dad, uncles, aunts, cousins, abandoned them. And for survival, you know, they find people in similar situations. They look for food and shelter and employment. That's their KIKI family. Those are the people that they can be themselves around. Those are the people that they can express what's on their mind and their hearts. Those are the people that they can dance, sing, perform, and just be themselves around. And I think that if that movement never happened for the Black and brown community, we'd be in a more dangerous place. So, you know, Ballroom as a whole, when it started back in the 80s and stuff, like it gave Black and brown queer people at the time, what I call LGBTQ, a place to be themselves and be safe. You know, I know that we talked about in our pre-conversation about like you know, the Main Street ballrooms and ballroom houses. You know, those are the long vans, and those are the gorgeous Gucci's, and those are the Escadas and all the other stuff. You know, that is more like the older crowd. You know, Kiki's the younger generation. You know, and but in some capacity they cross. You know, they intersect. You know, and I think that it was necessary for Black and brown queer people to have something like that. You know, it's, I will say this, in the time of doing this particular project and working and like doing the research and all the other stuff, it's a tough pill to swallow when you're 15, 16 years old and your parents kick you out, you're living on a street corner, a bench, and you resort to survival sex. By the time you're 18, 19, you're HIV positive. You're still homeless, living in shelters. Like, why have a child if you're going to abandon them and that's going to happen? You can never say that you're going to make it into the kingdom of heaven if that's what the fuck you did to your kid. Just saying, like, you know what I mean? And I think this is why this show needed to happen, because a lot of people have stories, and through all the shit that they went through, they still came out on top. And that's why this was important. So that's the difference. Birth family, like mom, dad, siblings. Kiki family, we're all brothers and sisters, and they're nurturing, and you know, it makes sense.
Because I feel like it definitely was an eye-opener for a lot of people who may watch that. A lot of children, a lot of teens, or you know, just people in general, where they feel like they can't say anything, or they don't feel comfortable saying something to their family, and now they're like, okay. And then by their family watching it also, it says, okay, if my child did come out and say something like that to me, how would I react? How would I be? Would I support them, or would I turn my back to them? You know? So it's definitely an eye opener for a lot of people to think about that. Like, that puts a seed in their head, like, okay, how would I react to that? You know?
One thing that
go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Do you feel like it's in today's generation that it's more acceptable now?
I think kids just don't give a fuck anymore. They're just like this. You don't like it? Like, I just think they don't care anymore. I think that they have come into their own, and they are gender fluid. They are having conversations. Social media plays a big role in how these kids just are formed and shaped in the conversations. And I think the ones that do fear are getting that fear from someplace that is not safe. Maybe that is at home. But I will say this about the Kiki show. One thing that I really, really am proud of is the honesty that these people gave. And I hope that if their parents did see this on television or when they see it on Amazon, that they see the error of the way they treated their kids. And if any parent is questioning whether or not they should pray the gay way, abandon their child, whatever the case may be, I hope they watch this and see the pain and hurt in these in these guys, because it may not be the most comfortable thing to be sitting in a room with your family on Thanksgiving and watching this show, knowing that your son or your daughter just said, I almost committed suicide because of my family. And now you're in a room with everyone hearing this, and they're looking at you like, well, what the fuck you do to your kid? Why'd you do that? You know what I mean? Which is, but you know what I mean? It's like, now you have to take ownership of that hurt. Now you have to take ownership of that hurt. And I think that this is going to force parents to take ownership of the hurt that they put in their kids. And sometimes you don't have to say anything, but just listen. Do you know what I mean? And I think that's important, that parents listen to their kids, because eventually they're going to grow up and have to take care of you.
And not be so quick to react. Like, sometimes if you know that you're going to if they're saying something that you may not agree with, take a minute to, you know, step back and say, wait a minute, I just need to, give me a minute. So that I don't say something that's going to be harmful to our relationship.
Right.
So,
Oh yes, much better light.
so,
I'm still
so,
trying to figure out this light.
so it's on Amazon Prime, right?
Yes, it will be. Yes,
So is it going to be the whole season?
the whole season.
Okay, you know when I saw the first episode, I was like, okay, this is it. I want more.
Yes,
But
and
now,
that's what we wanted to do. Like I said, like, you know, the whole season is the ball. Like, you know what I mean? And like, so you'll see all the categories. You'll see performance. You'll see hand performance. You'll see runway. You'll see all of it. Like, it's pretty damn good, actually. It's one of those things where you're like, okay, you know, we got some good hashtags coming out of the show. So it's gonna be lit.
all right now.
It's gonna be lit,
So,
and they win cash prizes.
all right now, let's see. Look, we all can take some money. Give us
Oh
some
yeah,
money.
no, and that's another thing. Like, you know, with the show, we did it professionally. You know, the cast got paid to be on the show. They won the prizes. They got the prize money. Like all that stuff is, you know, it's real because we just know we want them to have the experience and
Yes,
live their truth.
yes. So, question before we move on to Spotlight Under the L.
Mm-hmm.
So when it comes to a ballroom, because I saw that you recorded one that you were at, and I left in the comments, I wanted to come.
Which ball?
So, I don't know where you went, but everybody was voguing and doing some stuff.
Oh, that was like a few weeks ago.
Yes.
Oh, that was in West Philly, yo.
I don't know where nothing at, but could I have gone?
Yes,
Or is it like
absolutely.
only certain
No,
people can?
anybody can. Girls, as long as you got that $10 to get up in that mug, you good. Like, there's no judgment. It is just whoever goes. There's no judgment.
Okay.
No judgment whatsoever. No judgment.
Now, that's what I was wondering. I was like, okay, is it only for like the LGBT community? They like,
No, no.
Or,
It's the community is so inviting and so like engaging. Like they don't care. Like don't start none, won't be none kind of thing. You know.
I really want to go. I feel like it.
I will
like,
take you to the ball.
Please do. I will be ready.
Okay.
I don't care what my schedule is. I'm like, gotta go.
You should walk the category. You should walk the runway category.
They're gonna be like,
No, they won't.
I hope
They
not.
they would love it.
Nervous.
Oh, you can't be nervous. You can't be nervous.
Okay, well, that'll be the second time I go. That'll be the second.
Okay, sounds good.
Yes, but $10 to go. Look, you should have called me and told me.
Yeah, it was kind of last minute. We that was actually November 7th. I remember the day. That was the day we it aired on TV on the CW here in Philadelphia, and some of the cast surprised me and flew in from Atlanta.
Aww.
And so, but they were also competing at the ball, so that made it even better.
So, what kind of responses did you get after the show aired?
Great, actually. You know, more straight people. I hate straight gays. More cisgender people were like, yo, this is really good. It opened my eyes to a lot of things. I didn't know this was going on in the community. Like stuff like that, you know. Disappointing that the Black and brown LGBTQ community in Philadelphia did not support the way I thought they would. I'm just gonna be honest, if y'all watching, like I just felt like there wasn't enough support. I probably shouldn't have done that, but I don't even care anymore. Like it's like at that point where when we're asking for Black and brown content and we're asking to show what the community is about and we're doing those stuff, it would make sense to participate, you know. But we are gearing up for season 2, and we're going to cast 10 people from New York, 10 people from Philadelphia.
Yeah.
And yeah, so that's going to be what we're doing for season 2. And then season 3, we will do 10 from Detroit, 10 from what I feel like is Sacramento, but I'm not sure. Chicago, no, Detroit and Chicago, because they're like, you know, a few hours away from each other. So we go to Detroit and then we'll drive to Chicago to film. And then the season 4 is taking the winners from each season and putting them in a house. Yeah, we're gonna put them in a house, like real world style.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Look, I'll be zoomed in like.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be a Kiki for sure. It's gonna be a Kiki. You know, it's
I
yeah.
wonder why I haven't seen a show like that. Do they
Like
even
what?
have a show like that where you get a whole bunch of people that's a part of the LGBT community?
And put them in a house?
Yeah.
They tried it on they tried it, A-lister or some shit like that. I think it was A-lister, the A-list. I don't remember, but it wasn't anybody black and brown. That's for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, it is what it is. I'll create it. Don't worry.
But I can't wait till you do it.
Oh, I'm gonna do it. Don't
right
worry.
there, front and center.
I'm gonna do it.
Yes.